Just a minute, ladies and gentlemen. I think something is happening.
I defend my family. I think I do a pretty good job of defending my family.
Yeah, my sister, bless her heart, she's as loyal as the day is long.
Of the boss, that legacy stick. Angel Gotti in the game, yeah, she moved like a brick. Daughter of the Don, heart pure, never phony. Built her own lane, got respect like a trophy. Loyal to the bone, she don't switch, never fold. Truth in her tone, every word she say bold. Protecting the name with a fire in her chest. My father on her lips, she don't settle for less. So Angel Gotti, light it up like fire. Mob to queen, take the hate up higher. Strong, sharp, real with a touch of grace. You feel the Gotti blood when she step in the play. Loyalty runs deep, she ain't never alone. She got street sense and pride in her tone. Say what she feel, always bold, never sorry. Bow to the queen, we talking Angel Gotti. A mother, a grandma with backbone and grit. She been through the storm but ain't never quit. She wear that last name like a crown on her head and stand for respect, not the gossip that spread. Got love from the real ones and fans that ride, cause Angel speak facts, she ain't gotta pick sides. She got stories to tell with a heart full of fight. Built from the fire, now she shine in the light. She don't need no crown, her name say it all. Standing 10 toes down, never scared to brawl. Legacy deep, yeah, the roots run wide. Gotti in her blood with that fire in her stride. Not just a name, it's the life she defend. You can love her or hate her, but she don't pretend. But Angel Gotti, light it up like fire. Mob to queen, take the hate up higher. Strong, sharp, real with a touch of grace. You feel the Gotti blood when she step in the place. Her loyalty runs deep, she ain't never alone. She got street sense and pride in her tone. Say what she feel, always bold, never sorry. Bow to the queen, we talking Angel Gotti.
You know something? I just have one thing to say, and I don't want you to bother me. This is your government, all you people. It's about time that you stood up and took it back. Don't you see what's happening? Take it back. It's yours. It's mine. But I don't want it. He'll be out there today like a proud peacock. Andrew Maroney, that's your U.S. District Attorney. He'll be out there like a peacock, just enjoying and reveling in this. He didn't win fair and square. He played a game that he didn't play fair and square. My father is the last of the Mohegans. They don't make men like him anymore. They never will.
Hello, everyone. How is everyone tonight? Hello, Victoria.
Hello.
What's going on, Vic?
What's going on? The usual Sunday evening.
Give me,
getting ready.
all right,
What?
give me 1 second. I just want to lower this. Hold on. Okay, I'm sorry, everyone. So what's going
What's
on,
up?
Victoria? How is everything?
It's all right. What's happening with you?
Nothing much. I told my sister that she didn't have to go get her hair and makeup done to come on here. That we could do it with just these the avatars up. So that's why she is on the screen in an avatar, and me too. So anyway, Vic, what's going on? Everything
I'm
okay?
glad you had to tell everybody that. Anyway, Sundays, Saturdays, I run errands and things like that. Sundays, I use to just decompress from the entire week, everything, and then get ready for Monday morning grind. And it's crazy Mondays and manic Mondays and whatever. So I just like to chill and be on Sundays. I don't like to be bothered. I don't like to be, the grandkids will usually come over in the morning and then they leave after an hour or two, and then it's just quiet for the rest of the day.
Yeah, but Vec, let's face it, you could, I personally told you last night I like you better without makeup. I think you're beautiful and you don't even need that makeup.
Told me last night what? I didn't hear you.
I said I told you last night that you didn't need any makeup. I like you better without makeup.
Right, I know, but oh, you mean in general? I don't know. Everybody likes me without makeup. They say I look like a kid, but I don't know. You're just used to it, and then you go to shoots, and you go to so many, photography things for magazines and on the air and this and that. And I'm so tired of it. I hate every time they do my makeup, and I feel like they make me look like a clown anyway. So it is what it is. And when I'm home, I walk around with no makeup, and I like to jump out errands and shop my area, no makeup and just chilling.
Well, like I said, I like you much better without makeup.
My sons say the same thing.
Yes, I know. So does John.
Yeah.
So, I sent you the pictures last night of Jerry's work. He's amazing. Jerry is amazing. So I started.
It seems it.
What?
It certainly looks that way.
Yeah, he's amazing. So I thought that tonight, we can talk about what exactly did happen at John's wedding.
God, that was crazy. And remember, I gave birth. I'll just remember Daddy's line when I came down finally, and I'll get to why in a second, but Daddy looking up at someone at the table, which is to remain nameless, and he said, "Can you believe this? My stomach was flatter than flat, and I had this Carmen Miranda type, white frilly gown on because that's what Kim wanted, John's wife. My sister-in-law, she wanted, us in white and or black. And I chose the white because her whole family and her sisters were wearing white. She was with me. But anyway, I forgot my shoes in all the melee and us trying to avoid the press and Daddy, the church, and going in and out of this way and losing them and everybody leaving at different times, jumping over fences. It was crazy. Somehow they lost my white shoes, my custom shoes to go with the dress. So we get to the hotel. I have the baby, Frank, who, like I said, was born 10 days before. He was born April 12th. I believe they got married on the 21st. And 9 days before. And Daddy says when I
Hold on. There seems to be a problem with the audio. Hold on. Oh, the audio is awful. All right, hold on. Let me fix this. Hold on, Beck. Okay. I have to hold on. Okay, is that better? Can everybody hear me better? Let me just no, it's probably me. Well, let's see. Hold on. This thing is so slow. Can everybody hear? Is that better now?
I can hear you clearly. I don't know.
No, everybody's saying they can't hear me. Bad static.
Hmm.
No, now it's worse. Hold on, Vic. Hold on. Okay, can you hear me now? Can you hear me, Vic?
I can.
No, I'm talking to my daughter. Is it better now? Okay, so they're saying that they could hear me fine.
Okay,
so they're all saying they could hear me. All right, okay, very good.
Well,
So
I'll
go ahead,
repeat.
Vic. I'm sorry. Where were
Okay,
you?
I'll just repeat quickly.
Yeah,
So
go ahead.
I gave birth to my youngest son April 12th. Their wedding, I believe, was the 21st. So really, it was 9 days. And when I came down to the table, finally, Daddy said, well, let me go back a bit. Anyway, in all the chase that we were trying to avoid, the people, the reporters at the churches, and where the event was, nobody knew until literally after the fact, which we got away with that. Congratulations to Daddy and his smart thinking. But anyway, they had no sense. Even the Italian flag that Leona Helmsley held up at the at the palace, the Helmsley Palace, which she's never done before. It's just been their flag, whatever. Okay. They didn't catch on until the next day, and she left it up a day or two. But P.S., we got away with it. We checked in, and all of a sudden, Angel, I realized I had the baby in a basket. I would not leave him home, nor the other kids. So I think Rose had all of them. Remember, we had Rose with us. She had the kids, but the baby, he was newborn. He was 9 days old, so he needed my attention. I had to put him to bed. Finally got him to bed. Rosie said, go downstairs. I was putting my shoes on, went to get my shoes. They were not there. I called every room. Daddy went searching everywhere. He had the guys looking for them. No, the shoes were gone. They were either left in the back of one of the limos or left back at my house. The guy didn't put it in the car. I don't know. There was a few other items missing too, but my gown was there. And I know I put the shoes in the bag and everything next to it because they were brand new, and a couple of things for the baby. P.S. I'm at the hotel and I have this white long gown, Angel, I wore in April, black, jeans to the hotel, so we could change and all that. And I had on boots, black boots. Certainly didn't look right with a white gown. That was like a Carmen Miranda, really tight to the bottom, which flared all the way out. The top was kind of, how do I say it, sleeveless, off the shoulder, but really ruffled, kind of like the organza. It was a beautiful gown and sequins. Anyway, at the end of the day, I didn't even realize, first of all, I went down with my slippers on. They wouldn't have known. You couldn't see under the gown. But we went crazy. Daddy had men out there going to every store. Bloomingdale's, everywhere, Saks Fifth Avenue, any store that they found open. And thankfully for New York City, it was at a certain point they got something from Bloomingdale's, I think, and I just say grab anything, that's hopefully a white pump, and it's a size 7. They did. The guy came back at this point. These were all downstairs getting the family photos done. I rushed. Baby was fine, ran out into the elevator, ran down those stairs. By the time I got down, everybody was seated because it was a seated cocktail hour, if you remember. Everything was very formal, very white glove. And I approached the table, and I remember Daddy looking up to this particular guest who shall remain nameless, and is not very fond. We're not fond of them at all. But anyway, they were there that night. politics, whatever you want to call it. But he turned to them, a couple, and he said, "Can you believe this? Can you believe this? She gave birth 10 days ago. He said, 10 days ago. And my stomach was flat as a board, and they were like marveling. And I just went, I was so upset because I missed all the photos. Daddy would not have cameras going around once we were seated because, there were certain people that didn't want, it was a whole political thing, really. But anyway, that was that bothered me. Sat down with the shoes, whatever, finally, and made the cocktail, and made the dinner and all that. But that was my worst regret that happened. And I was never in any of the wedding photos. Yours, of course, Peter's, of course, everybody's really, but John's. And that bothered me. It always bothered me for years. So when you did that last night and sent it to me, I was very impressed. I was happy because I had never seen, anybody do that, even think to do it over the years. And it was very nice. And it made me feel better. That's all.
Oh,
So even if it just put me in the wrong color gown. But anyway.
Yeah, but that's okay. But
yeah, it was fine because you guys were in black. So remember, she wanted either black or white, and I don't know, because I was with her. She made me get the white, and it was a beautiful dress. Right. Yeah. So I wanted to make her happy too, and said that
you're making noise. So what my sister is talking about is we did family photos, but she was running out looking for her shoes. And so they did the photos.
Well, I wasn't running out. Daddy had everybody searching all the limos that were left, there. Wherever it was, they were gone. They searched the trunks, the cars, everywhere. Nothing. There wasn't a bag, a tissue paper, nothing to be found.
Oh, I just lost her. So anyway, Jerry came up with, I had asked Jerry if he could add my sister to this photo, and look how beautiful he did that. I have to get the original one. Hold on 1 second. I have to get the original one and show everyone. Yeah, I can't show it because it's too big. But anyway, here's the thumbnail, and you get the drift. He added my sister into the photo, and she looks like she was really standing next to them when they took that picture. Yeah, he did a great job. He's the best. He's the greatest. Jerry, you're the greatest.
Well, he did a great job, and I was very impressed.
I tell him all the time, Jerry, you're the greatest. I don't deserve you, Jerry.
Now, Jerry is the one that does all the postings.
Yes.
Right. Because I keep confusing them. The website, guy, and then
no, Jerry, that's not Jerry, not the website. Can everybody hit that like button, please? Please hit that like button. So anyway, I wanted you to talk about when we were at the church for your wedding. Tell everybody that story. That's funny.
For my wedding?
Yeah, your wedding, and then we could talk about on the way to mine with
It's funny now. It wasn't funny then, but
it's funny now.
I remembered everything. Yeah, everything. I mean, if there was a sign from God, He gave me 15 of them, and I just ignored them. I woke up that morning. If you remember, Angel, I was crying. I had to get my hair and makeup done. I didn't want to go. I was most upset. I don't know. This feeling came over me, and I didn't want to. Honestly, part of me wanted to get married, to get out and see the world and live my life. I was the strict one, and I never really went anywhere and did anything. But anyway, the other part of me realized, is this really it is just really like love, in love, being in love. It was my first boyfriend, so I was very upset. And I was upset about leaving my parents, leaving home. I was young, I was 20. And at the end of the day, I was in the car with Daddy and you riding to the church. I was tearing up. And Daddy kept looking at me like he could read my mind. And then he said, we got out of the car. If you remember, we pulled up at the church. And we were all there. Our cars were all there, our family. Carmine's, my ex-husband's side, wasn't there. None of the limos showed up. Nothing. Daddy waited a good 20 minutes before he got crazy. Because he was very, as you know, Ian, she was very with time, on time, this, that, everything was by the book. And he turned to me at one point. Daddy would take his anger out on anybody that was standing next to him. And he turned to me and he went, this guy isn't here in the next 5 minutes. That's it. That's it. He said, I'm going to go send somebody out to hunt him down, give him a nice beating, he said, and then we're going to move on. And that's it. It's over. And then all of a sudden we turn around, we hear all this ruckus and noise, and there's tow trucks pulling up.
I can't. That had to be the funniest thing.
Funny, but embarrassing. And there were flatbeds, anything. Remember, I had 26 groomsmen. It was an all groomsmen wedding except for you and the two little girls, Cousin Dina and little Nicole. Anyway, everybody's pulling up all these trucks. Daddy's looking, doing a double take. He went over to Bob. Bob had planned all the cars and all that, yelling and screaming. And my ex gets out of the car and says, John, nobody showed up. No cars. We waited. Then we figured these were running late. I finally made a phone call. They didn't even know they were supposed to send cars. Somebody messed it up. They didn't send any cars to my ex's home or his family's, nothing.
They all came in tow trucks and flatbeds, whatever had wheels and a motor by his house is what this family came to the church in.
Because all of his groomsmen, all the guys, they were very successful businessmen in the auto trade. And they all had trucks. And their girlfriends or wives or whoever had the car, the fancy cars, and they were riding, getting their hair done and this and that. So the guys had only trucks, and they ran in tuxedos. And one would drive this one, pick up that truck. 4 guys would get into that. Then another, then another. They finally get to the church. All right, I'm breathing a sigh of relief because I'm sitting there going, don't tell me he woke up feeling the same way. Maybe this is an omen because I don't want to walk down that aisle. Daddy, then I'm sitting in the car. Daddy says to me, he leans his head and he says, why do you seem so miserable? We're going to get started in 5-10 minutes. You look miserable. And I was sitting with you and I just said, no, and you said, before I could speak like you always did, she's just nervous. That everything's going to be all right. It's going to be all right.
I'm always the peacemaker. Always.
Right. So
always.
Then all of a sudden I remember Daddy closed the door and he said, all right, 2 minutes. They're getting everybody lined up. All the guys were lining up. Getting inside.
Oh my God.
I turn around, I feel a breeze of air.
Yep.
Just come up my back, like my lower back, all the way up to my neck. And it was in December. I wanted a Christmas theme wedding. I don't know why, red or anyway. I remember turning, I didn't even look at you, Angel, and I said to you over my shoulder, Angel, please tell me. Because I knew you wouldn't have opened the window to smoke a cigarette with Daddy there. So I went, Angel, please tell me that you just opened a window. And you went, what? And I went, oh my God. I said, there's a breeze up my back. Did something split? All of a sudden you looked under the veil and you went, all right. And I went, oh my God. I just started crying. Daddy turns around, comes back to the car because they opened the door for me again twice. I couldn't get out. Daddy stuck his head in like you told him. Dad, her gown split in the back. And Kleinfeld's had that custom done in France, Demetrius. And they put this flowers on and they did this and they reinforced everything they told me and it fit like a glove. In fact, I had lost a few pounds, so it was a little bit looser. Anyway, Daddy yells to the crowd, went to one of the guys, get her a seamstress and get one now. See how fast you can get him here, Bobby. And that guy turned around and he talked to somebody in the crowd. There's Grandma Emma. She raised her hand.
Yeah,
She
so
had
now
her
let's
whole-
tell everybody. So what happens now is my Uncle Angelo, his mother, we used to call her Grandma Emma. Her name was Emma. She was in the church, so she whipped a scissor out of her pocketbook. She was a seamstress. Yeah.
Right? She got in the limo and she said, Angel, move over.
No,
sit
no,
on
no,
this
no,
side."
Vic, you're wrong. She never did it in the limo. We got you out. I covered you. Listen, Vic, I covered you. You got up to the vestibule of the church. She went behind you and she was behind you. Nobody
Wait,
even
no,
saw her.
Wait, you're not listening. She came in the limo first, told you to move it to the side. She had pins
Yes,
and she
yes.
pinned me in it and said, when your father, lifts the veil from your face, she said, just be very careful that he doesn't take the rest because your whole back is just pinned like 5, pins, whatever. Okay. In the church, you're right. She came up behind me.
Yes. Now, in the vestibule of the church, Grandma Emma comes up behind you. Nobody could see her because I was blocking her. You were blocking her. She whipped out that scissor. I don't know what the heck she did.
I'll tell you.
Yeah.
She took wire. Wait, she took wire. She had wire thread on her. And she, in a minute or two at the most, I'm not exaggerating, she went up there, boom, 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 sewed me into it right to the top. And I remembered one thing. I said, oh my God, Grandma, thank you so much. And she said, well, look, Rep, I can't breathe. I don't want to breathe. And she went, little Vicky, don't worry. You can breathe. You can do anything you want. This gown's not going nowhere. I said, okay, great. I felt good. Went down the aisle. We got married. Coming out, Grandma Emma grabs me. I gave her an extra hug and a kiss when everybody was congratulating.
Yeah.
And she looked over at me and she whispers in my ear, Angel, and she goes, only one thing. Because all I had was the strongest thread anyway was the wire thread. She said, whatever you do, if you have to go tutu, she called it, like, if you have to go into the bathroom.
Tinkle.
She said, you have to wait. She said, you have to throw the gown, have 2 girls throw the gown all the way over your head. You cannot come out of it through the back with the zipper. It's not repaired. I sewed you into it. That was the quickest way. Otherwise, we would have had to take you out of the gown. And I would have done it, but whatever. Angel, all night, I had to bring 2 or 3 girls to the bathroom with me. They had to hold the gown well over my head. I couldn't even see because it was so bubbled and long, and the train was like 30 feet, and it was a nightmare. But when I got home, I'll never forget it. I ripped it, just ripped it off of me because Grandma Emma said I had to cut my way out of it. But I just ripped it off of me. Called Kleinfeld after I got back from my honeymoon. And first I called them the next morning because we didn't leave until the following morning. But I yelled at them profusely. And I said to the woman that was helping me, Barbara, I'll never forget her name. And I said, do you realize my gown split in the car in front of the church? And she was shocked.
And you were so skinny.
Yes, and I said I even
not
lost
like you
more
were a
weight.
fat girl who couldn't
and
fit.
I even lost more weight when they did the last fitting. So it was a little loose on me, so I didn't understand. So she starts telling me, Barbara, oh my God, I can't believe it. And it was done in France and our best girls were on it here and making all the measure and taking all the thing. And didn't even offer me like anything, except we're sorry, because they were Kleinfelds. And I said to her, do you realize how much money I paid for this gown? This almost destroyed my wedding. I said, if that woman, my grandmother Emma, wasn't there, I would not have been able to walk down that aisle, or I would have had to walk down with somebody holding the back of my dress clothes. How insane was this? Because Daddy first yelled out, does anybody have safety pins? Anybody have pins?
Anybody have anything?
Right. And who would ever thought Grandma Emma always had everything in her bag? She was, oh my God. She is the only woman that I know with a regular handbag over her. You know how the old-fashioned ladies would wear them over their wrist,
Yeah,
the little.
yeah.
She could whip up a 5-course meal or whatever she had in her bag.
Yeah.
She could make curtains, an outfit, whatever. She carried every little thing of the most important, like survival. You want to, God forbid, plane crash, anything, you want to be sitting next to Grandma Emma. But anyway, my point was, so many signs were there. And after we come out of the church, I remembered somebody, they were all throwing rice, angel, and confetti and all that. And one of them hit me in the eye, right in my eye. Could not get it out. I was tearing all the way to the hall, the wedding hall. Couldn't even take the pictures right. It was crazy until this one person again in the crowd was a doctor. Came, he did something in the bathroom, did an eye wash, then somebody came in and redid my makeup. Everything that could go wrong went wrong. And then we went on the honeymoon, and midway through, right after Acapulco, we went to Vegas. And in Las Vegas, I told my ex-husband I want a divorce. I was crying. Yep, I was crying. My brother's the only one. Imagine I'm the only bride that has their brother come down. Okay.
Listen,
on the next flight to meet me there.
Vic, let's be honest. I mean, when Carmine called me and begged me. We used to call each other Bogey, remember? And he's like,
Yeah.
Bogey, please, I'll pay for everything. I'll give you $1,000 too, spending money. Please come here. I'm like, I can't. I just had Frankie. Frankie was only 6 months old. I couldn't leave a baby and go to Vegas. He's like, please, she tortures me, please.
Angel,
because he loved to gamble. And my sister didn't like gambling. He just wanted to sit in that casino.
Angel, we took back then, 1984, taking $25,000 in cash after everything's prepaid on your honeymoon is gauche. Okay, it's over the top. But we did take it, and I thought he could be trusted to hold it, came from our savings, whatever. We made a lot of money at that wedding. But anyway, Daddy held on to everything till we got back. And I thought, we have more than enough. We're going to come home with, I even told my ex when we were leaving, I said, how much did you bring? It was crazy. And I said to him, 10 would have been more than enough. 5 was fine. Anyway, the first day we were there, he gambled all the money. I remember him, I come up to the hotel, he told me to go shopping just to occupy me. And I bought a bunch of things for him more than me. And I come in there, he's sitting in the chair with his head in hand, and he says, I did bad. And I went, you did bad. And I said, what do you mean? What'd you lose? And he went, everything. And I just looked at him, and I said, everything isn't everything. He said, let's put it this way. When we're checking out, I got to pray to God that there's no incidentals and this and that, because I literally put everything on the table. I said, in 3 hours, you lost $25,000 at the crap tables. And he said, yeah. Like, he was so sick, he didn't even care. I threw everything at him, and he had the nerve to say to me, it was kind of funny now, I bought him a little ring, a cocktail ring for a man, I bought him with a dice diamond. I bought him a beautiful gray ultra suede, single-breasted jacket. I bought him a couple of things, and then I threw them all at him, and he said to me, imagine this, I'm in the bathroom now, I'm slamming the door, and I'm telling him, I'm calling my father, I'm getting out of here. I can't do this, I don't want to do this. And he yells out after me, do you think that they'll exchange this if I bring him downstairs? I couldn't believe it. For like $3,000, whatever it was. I just told him, get out. I threw him out of the suite. I called home. The next thing I know, John is walking out. I'm looking outside the window the next morning, and I was afraid, Angel, to order breakfast. I swear to God, because I had no credit cards. I was a kid. Just turning 20. Everything was in his name. We had transferred everything, the Amex, this, that. And I didn't even want to order breakfast. And all of a sudden, I look out the window, and I think I'm seeing things. Our brother John and someone else getting out of a limo. And I'm doing a double take, and I'm like, oh my God. Because John was supposed to wire down 5,000, and to me, not to him, to my ex. He couldn't be trusted. It was for me, and I was to pay and use that for the rest of our, honeymoon. And then when I got home, I would replace it. And don't you know it? As I'm looking out the window, my ex runs right out the door. Angel was like he was waiting in the lobby. And I'm like, oh my God, Angel. I ran down those stairs in slippers, half my nightgown, half robe, half everything, my hair in curls. I ran down there like a lunatic. We had the biggest fight, the MGM Grand in that lobby, that the concierge came over. He was like, Miss Gotti, come with me, come with me. He took me upstairs. He calmed me down. I wanted a divorce from that point on, and I wouldn't look at him. And John left, I think the day before we left. But those two and a half days, John stayed with his friend, because we were only staying 4 days, like a long weekend. And John left. And I remembered that we had to just sit half a day, like say from the night John left tonight, tomorrow we would have our flight at say 6 their time. And on the plane back, we had to make one stop in Dallas. And I remembered I was on one side of the plane, and I told the flight attendant, because his ticket was right next to mine, we were in first class, and I said to the flight attendant, that man sitting over there, because I changed my seat, I went, keep him away from me. I don't want him near me. So she said, do you know him? I went, no. And he was trying to get my attention and telling the flight attendant we were buckled in, just taking off. And the flight attendant's going, oh, he wants to buy you a drink. And he's asking if he can come and change his seat next to her. I said, no, ma'am. I don't even know him. I said, just keep him away from me. Keep him away from me. I said, oh, I'll call the police when we land at the gate. And she was like, oh, okay. We got off, Angel, remember? I went home to live with Mommy for the next 4 days, Mommy and Daddy. He went back to his mother's house. I told him, you can't stay here. Our house was getting built. It was like a week out. And I said to him, you either go sleep in the new house with the windows dripping and whatever, because they're drying with the glue, or you go home to your mother, but you're not staying here. And Daddy knew there was something wrong. And Mommy said, all right, if you're sure. And I said, Mom, I'm sure. I need this divorce. I have to get this divorce. I don't even know how to tell Daddy. I said, because I couldn't go out with him for 2 years. We did it on the sneak. And I said, in 5 years of dating, we get married. And I realized on my honeymoon, the first night, I married the wrong guy. And all of a sudden, Mommy says, well, we'll tell him tonight together. And Daddy was in a bad mood that day. So we didn't tell him that night. She said, we'll tell him tomorrow. And I got so sick that night. I was throwing up. I was really sick, feverish. Mommy took me to the doctor the next morning. And she stuck her head in and she went, just give me a minute. I have an emergency in the back. But she looked at Mommy and I and she went, the rabbit died. And I remember standing there and looking at Mommy because we didn't use that term. It was so old. And Mommy went, oh, dear God. And I went, what? And Mommy said to me, you're pregnant. And I went, no. No. I said to her, no, Ma. Even if it was the best of circumstances, we were going to wait a year to acclimate ourselves. And that's what they tell you. And everybody tells you it's the smart thing. She said, you're pregnant. And then the doctor came in. I was pregnant, unfortunately, with my daughter, Justine, who was stillborn. But I always felt like that was a sign from God anyway. I don't know. But, yeah, it was quite a... And then I was leaving again, and all of a sudden, it was a month after Justine, and they said, no, you can never have any more kids. And I took that really bad. Remember, I had a breakdown.
Yeah.
I locked myself in the baby's nursery, and I wouldn't come out. I wouldn't let my ex.
You wouldn't even talk to me. I was so upset.
No. I couldn't talk to you because
she wouldn't even talk to me.
Yeah,
and we used to talk every single day. Yeah, but we talked every day.
But you have to understand, you just had Frankie. And
I know. I remember I mailed you letters.
Yeah, I didn't feel jealous or anything, but I was just
You were
so
just
questioning
heartbroken, of
God.
course.
Yeah,
You were
I'm going, God,
heartbroken.
why would you do this to me? I've always been a good person, and
Yeah, you
I
were
tried.
heartbroken.
But anyway, Daddy
But
comes
yet,
in one
listen
day.
to this. But listen to this, everyone. This I'll never forget. My mother called me very upset, and she said she explained everything that happened, and of course I was crying. And she said, "Angel," and I'm gonna start crying now. She said she told the doctor, "I want my sister Angel." Do you remember
Yeah,
that? I
yeah, I
want my
did.
sister.
I
Where's
did.
my sister Angel? I want my sister.
I couldn't believe what was happening because
I
one
know.
doctor, they dismissed me from one hospital and said, "Oh, you're fine," and we just found out she was a girl. And
Yeah, I
I
know.
remember thinking, we didn't, and he goes, "Oh, you didn't know?" I went, "No." Then I went home. Dr. Stern called later on because remember, we just called an ambulance and it took us right to Long
Yeah.
Beach. Dr. Stern found out later on. She called me and
Yeah.
she goes, "You know what, Vic? It was 10 o'clock at night." And she said, "Have your husband drive you in. I just want to observe my show." She didn't know that, but the other doctor saw it. And the next morning I was fine. She was discharging me at 10. And then all of a sudden, 10:30, I get up to get dressed. And I felt like I just peed. And all the water's gushing down. And they called Stern. She came in right away. She tested it. And I just saw her face. And she went, "Oh, Vicky, 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 Vicky." And I just stood there and I went, "No. No." And then they moved me to another unit and the waiting, it was horrible. But anyway, getting back to when I was locked in the room, Daddy kicked that door in. And he said to me, "You're going on a cruise." I'll never forget it because Princess Diana died the following weekend. We were on the cruise. And he said, "You're going on a cruise. I already talked to your husband. And he's gonna, he knows when to pack, and I got things closed, and everything's ready, and he was leaving next week." It was only a month after Justine had, died after birth, and we went. I came back. We really weren't even talking that much, but going through the, process and just going from, he would stay in the casino most of the time. I go back up to the room after dinner. And then I remember we got home, I got so sick again. And Mommy thought it was the food because we had gone to, I don't know, one of the islands. And she said, "Oh, Jesus, every time you get sick and this and that and that." I went to the doctor. I was pregnant with my son, Conway. It was like a miracle. And so I couldn't leave again. It was like, "Where you going? Vic, you're now pregnant with," and all I wanted was a baby then.
Oh, you two were unbelievable.
No, we did. We were like
I'm on the YouTube side, so I see some people are asking questions. I'm on the YouTube. I'm not on the StreamYard, so because I want to make sure everybody could hear us. But Johnny Noodles, no, my son was the oldest, and her daughter Justine would have been the second the second after Frankie.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But like I said, that I think was really cold feet at the wedding and just adjusting in the beginning because we were a very popular couple, and we were, he was obsessive, but in a good way, and we just
listen. We had, no matter what, we had good times, bad times. We had fun times, like everybody. Yeah, we did. We had.
The only thing I didn't know until I married him was, and that's what all the stuff started on the honeymoon. We'll leave it off at that. He was bipolar, manic depressive. It wasn't really a well-known illness then, and he was what they called a rapid cycler. And I didn't understand the hot to cold, the hot to cold, the hot to cold. Like what the hell? He was just in the mood and talking happy and jovially, like he was just jovial and all that. And then all of a sudden it was like, to people. And I'm like, what? So that's about it. Like I said, but like every marriage, ups, downs, all around.
Yeah. But let me I'm going to ask you this, and I know this is absolutely ridiculous, but for all the people here, Louis Casman said that Daddy wanted him to divorce Eileen and marry me, but that he had a choice between you or I.
Angel, I wouldn't have let him 5 feet near me.
Vicky, did you ever hear Daddy say he wanted Lewis to marry you or me?
Angel, first of all, Lewis, from the day he met me, he had a crush, and my ex knew. And
Oh
remember,
my
Carmine never
God.
liked him. Angel, Carmine never liked him.
I
And
know
wanted
he
to
never
beat
liked
up.
him.
He wanted to slap him each time he saw him just because. And he would tell me, fight with me on the way home and say, what do you think I can't see? You don't think I'm a man? I know when a man looks at a woman a certain way. And I would just argue back with him and say, I don't see him looking at me. And I don't care. Why would I care? And then at the end of the day, Lewis started nicknaming me Sheebsy.
Sheba. He used to call you Queen of Sheba.
The Queen of Sheba.
Yeah.
And my ex did not take fondly to that. Let me tell you. And then
Well,
Lewis
I
said
mean,
to
not
me
for
one
nothing,
night,
Vicky, but Carmine was jealous of any man who walked past
Yes.
you. I
But
mean,
Lewis-
it was
but-
not normal.
No. And I
You
didn't
couldn't
know
even
Angel.
show
He's
like
my-
affection to your brothers because he's
I didn't know.
a
Like I said,
weirdo. Oops, it's true.
Right, but I remember that day when Lewis said that, Angel, and my ex right away accused everything under the sun, and I just looked at him and he goes, yeah, I know. Your parents want you to divorce me and marry him. And I just looked at him and I went, are you out of your I was pregnant with John. And I went, are you out of your mind?
No,
And
that
I
was
said
in
to
his
him,
imagination and
Yes.
Lewis's and Lewis
Yes,
Casman's.
Lewis felt that
Yeah.
if he pulled that off and be married to one of John's daughters, he would be the king, the cream of the crop,
Yeah, but listen,
have the
would
power.
would Daddy ever want Lewis to divorce Eileen?
Never. Oh my
Never
God,
in
never.
a million years,
Never.
never.
Actually,
He's
Daddy,
so like
much
I
as
just don't
Angel-
understand him. He's so demented.
No, much as Lewis talked about Eileen and he would make fun of her and call her, oh my God, who calls your wife the who word? Who
No, but
calls
no,
your
but
mother?
what about when he used to say that she doesn't cook, he doesn't get a home
Right.
cooked meal, she makes
And
spaghetti
that
with
it's
ketchup.
Spaghetti with ketchup and noodles. But Daddy would say, she seems nice enough. I don't
Daddy
know what
liked
you're talking
her.
about. And,
He liked
and that
her.
was Daddy. She was
Yeah.
always very respectful to Daddy, and Daddy in turn to her. And Lewis would try and poison Daddy and
Yes.
his mind from liking her and say,
Yes.
oh, you should hear what she says about you guys behind your back. She's not too thrilled, She's one of those young Jewish girls that blah, 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 blah. It's not true. Angel was not true. When
I
met
know it
Eileen,
wasn't true.
I
Do
was
you
not
remember?
expecting any of that.
I told everybody this before, but do you remember when we went to Altadana's, right? All of us, the whole family, the whole family went. And Daddy told him, he came and and he kept looking at his watch or something. And he's like, well, what do you get? What do you got, somewhere to go? And he's like, well, I got to go home. He goes, no, call her up, call Eileen and tell her you're staying with us. You're going to be with me tonight. Oh my God. So Altadena, Joe brings the phone over to him and he calls.
Don't you remember how Daddy caught him? Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And he
fun.
said,
That's how we knew he was a bullshit artist.
yes, and then Daddy pressed the redial button. He never called her. He called some.
He called Angel. He dialed like 555-1212.
Yeah, I know.
It was like ridiculous. And Daddy just started laughing.
And that was it.
He goes, you're pineapple. You're
You
real
pineapple. Yeah,
Yes,
you're real
nice,
pineapple.
nice.
Oh
Yeah.
my God, we
He
laughed
does.
so hard. All of us.
Daddy
We were all
never
making
believed the
fun of
word
him.
that came out of his mouth after that.
He dialed the wrong number. He said, oh, she's
Yeah.
sleeping already. He says, oh, yeah, she's sleeping. Give me the phone. He pressed the redial.
He was
Oh, my
petrified, but
God.
He lived two separate lives. Like he pretended on one side that he was all tough and, he was the boss of, he was the boss of putting together weddings and
Not
holding
mine,
folks
not
in
yours.
umbrellas.
Not
Well, I'm
mine
just
and not
saying,
yours.
I know. But I'm saying, Angel, putting together umbrellas, coats, making sure people had like the right seats or that was his job.
Oh my God.
It was Casman. When I found that out, I laughed so hard and I went, what the hell could he possibly tell them that the cook, like let's say the cook in a household, wouldn't be able to tell the same thing? How ridiculous. That's how I looked at that.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Remember when you and Daddy and you, the three of us were in the car going for my wedding. Now we're going to the church, and it was like 98 degrees. We're in a Rolls Royce. We're in a Rolls Royce,
and the Rolls Royce, right?
Yes, I had the Rolls Royce, and the air conditioner broke. Do you remember?
Yes, that was my ex-husband's Rolls Royce that he bought from Red Buttons, the comedian, and it was beautiful. And
it was gorgeous.
Yes, he restored a lot of it. You were probably the last person, one of the first few, and the last person to use that for the wedding. Because I think after you was Mo and Donna, but that was it. Then he put it in storage and whatever.
Yeah. So now the Rolls is gorgeous, right? We get in. It's I picked September. I had a choice of 3 dates: July, August, or September. I picked September because I said, "Oh, July and August is too hot." That day it was 98 degrees. It was
a heat wave.
Oh my God. And now there's no air conditioner in the Rolls Royce. Okay. Now they blew out my hair, like with a cute little, little wave or whatever it was. By the time we got to the church, I had curly hair.
Yep. Everybody did.
And now Daddy's nervous as it is. You know how Daddy used to get like before a big event. Oh my God, he was like on a rampage.
Everything had to be perfect. Everything had to be in,
And he would get, and now we're in the car, and he goes to me. I said, I was like, he saw we were nervous. You and I were both nervous, and he says, I don't understand. I don't understand. You sure you want to go through with this? And I said, huh? He goes, you sure you want to go through with this?
Angel, what did he say to me?
I said to you, I said, no. What?
Wait, when the gown split and you were trying to smooth it over and going, Dad, we'll be all right. Yeah, 1 second. Like, you didn't even know what Grandma had. Nobody knew. We didn't know what we were going to do, but you were like calming him down. And Daddy stuck his head back in. Remember what he said? It was, now he got in the car, and it was just the three of us. And he turned to look at me, and he went, well, you know me. He always used to say, I'm not such a superstitious guy, but meanwhile, he was so superstitious. Anyway, he said, but you know me, and I don't take these things as blah, 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 blah. But if one more thing could go wrong, I mean, the writing's all over the wall. And he looked at me, then he looked at you, and he went, remember? He was sitting in that car, and he made the car go around the corner of the church so that we didn't look like, because then, remember, the guys hadn't pulled up yet either, and it looked like his daughter's being left at the altar. So he made them pull around. Don't you remember, Angel? He turned to me, and he went, listen to me. He looked at his watch, and he went, I'm going to give this 10 more minutes, okay? He goes, and I'll tell you what we do then is we can turn this into a Christmas party. He said, and we'll take that gown off. You'll run home quickly, or I'll have one of the guys get you something nice, something red, festive. And I went, Dad, no, we can't. I was so upset. And he went, well, we can't. It's Christmas. So I threw a big Christmas party. No big deal. No one will be the wiser. None the wiser. And I just remembered that, Angel. I wanted to die because Daddy had a, way out of everything. He wouldn't say, oh, don't get married, or I don't want to lose my girls, but he did. He told us both that, same way in the car. That was his,
That's what he said to me in the car, and he's like, we could turn this car around right now. Angel. Yeah, we could turn this car around right now.
We were riding on Crossbay Boulevard. I'll never forget it. And I just turned my head because I was looking out the window, and all of a sudden when he said that, I went, like my head whipped around, and I went, wait, what? And we're all dressed, and you're sitting there, and, And he's going, we could turn it around right now. We can go up to that. You turn right there at the light, spin it around and get right home. And I was going, oh my God, here it goes.
I remember when he said to me, he goes, meanwhile, Lewis was so good looking. And he's like, I don't understand. This is on the way to the church, people, to get married. I don't understand what you see in him. He looks like Frankenstein. I'm looking at my sister like,
Angel,
why is he doing it? Wait, I'm looking at you and I'm like, why is he doing this to me right now? It's 98 degrees in a Rolls with no air conditioning.
You don't remember, Angel, what he said about Carmine. He kept saying, Beauty and the Beast. Beauty and the Beast. He's a Neanderthal. He drags his knuckles on the floor like an ape. And blah, blah, blah. Don't you know, Angel, we were married only 5-6 years. My first book was coming out. And boom, the headline of the Daily News was Beauty and the Beast.
Oh, my God.
And I almost died, Angel, and I went, oh, my God, because Carmine was so insecure about that to begin with. And then I went, oh, my God, we're going to have a wars tonight.
Oh,
but Daddy was, Daddy would always say that to us. What do you see in this guy? And what do you see in this one, this and that? There was nobody good enough.
Remember our room when we lived in Canarsie, and I had David Cassidy all over the walls.
Angel, you think?
But do you remember what Daddy
David
said?
Cassidy and Bobby Sherman.
No, I never liked Bobby Sherman. That must have been you, not me. Never. Vic, never ever had Bobby Sherman. My true love was no, I didn't. I didn't like him at all.
You're right. I was imagining it, or I put it up.
Yeah,
Right.
I only liked David
7 years
Cassidy.
old, I put it up.
And Daddy said, "I don't understand, Dad. How do you like somebody with hair longer than yours?"
Yep. What restaurant were we in, Angel?
What?
And somebody was sitting there. It was a celebrity, a young, one of the guys that you like had a crush. You always had a crush on all the, rock groups and the celebs and the singers like David Cassidy. And you went, oh my God. It was a family holiday. Like, I don't know what we were there. Maybe a birthday, could have been Easter. I don't know. But Mommy was there, all of us. Yep. Peter was very small. And you recognized whoever came in and you went, oh my God. And you got your pen and paper out and you were getting ready to run over there. Daddy made you sit down. It was like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Daddy's face got so like bricks. And he just looked at us and he looked you in the eye and he went, listen to me and listen good, Dad. He went, see that imbecile over there? That ain't nobody. That's nobody. Nobody is better than anybody else. You're better than him, if anything.
I don't even remember that.
Oh, Angel, I do like it was yesterday. And he said to you, I don't remember who it was that was at that restaurant, but he said to you, he said, if I ever see you get up.
I've never, ever asked any celebrity for their autograph ever.
I'm telling you, you made a big fuss over whoever it was, and you were dying to get over there. And you almost looked like you were going to jump out of the seat. Daddy got crazy.
No, you know who I had a crush on? The only time I ever remember having a crush on somebody that was in a restaurant was Frankie Russo. Remember that? Frankie Russo from Russo's. At the time we were in Villa Russo's.
You were a kid. Yeah, you were a kid.
Always had a crush on Frankie Russo.
Frankie was a bus boy then.
Yep, he was. He was a bus boy. He was a waiter. That's right.
God bless him that he's really at the top and he did very
thank
well.
God. God bless him is right.
He's always a good guy.
Oh, here we go, Jason. Oh, that's funny.
He was great, though. He was Frankie. I just spoke to him the other night. He's doing, they're doing.
Yeah, I know. But very heartbreaking.
They're great people. Jamie and Frank are great people.
Yeah, I know. What a shame.
But yeah, that was the old days.
I don't ever remember. Do you remember the time when we went to a restaurant? We were in, I want to say we were in Lake George. It's either Lake George or Cape May. I can't remember. Do you remember we went into a restaurant? It was mommy, daddy, and all of us. And as soon as we walked in, daddy's like, I don't have a good feeling about this place because all the men had cowboy hats on and they all kept their hats on while they were eating at the table.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, so we were starving.
It was probably Lake George, and we
Lake
took a
George,
ride to
I think.
Saratoga.
Yeah.
because
So
we
wait, let
probably
me
rode over to
finish.
Saratoga. No,
So-
actually, Angel, it wasn't Lake George. It was Monticello. Daddy took us to Monticello, and we took a ride over. I don't know why. It was a while that we rode in the car, but like 45 minutes, and Mom was yelling, "Why we have to go so far for dinner? I mean, there's so many great restaurants over here." And blah 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 blah. Blah. And it was, yeah. Daddy took us by the Saratoga area. It was open for, the horses and the races and all that, but we went to dinner there. And that's that crowd. They're very, how should I say it? Very uppity, and
No, this was not.
they think they're at the Kentucky Derby.
But what happened is that the waitress, we were hungry and we were ordering, and so she brought bread over, and then one of us, I don't know who it was, one of us said, "Can we have more butter?" And then the waitress told us, "No, I'm sorry."
I thought you said red. And
No,
I was going to say
bread.
Okay.
And then we said, "Can we have more butter?" And she said, "I'm sorry, there's only one pat per person."
Yep.
And Daddy said, What'd you say?" And she says, "Oh, I can only give one pat per person." And he said, "Okay, let's go." And
Yep.
she's like, "Oh, no, please don't leave. I'm so sorry. I'll get you more." But he goes, "No, sweetheart, it's not you." He gave her a huge tip.
Yes.
He gave her a huge tip, and he said, "It's not you, but one pat of butter per person." Let's go. We're out of here.
And Mommy and Daddy fought all the way home. We were starving.
I know.
I think
We
Daddy
went
just
somewhere
got us-
else. I think we went to
Yeah, I don't know.
that
what
other
years,
place.
what years.
Yeah.
But Mommy was hungry and she wanted something she saw on the menu, and she started not carrying on with him. And that's all I remembered in the back seat. And I was going, "Oh boy, oh boy." We were young.
Yeah. One
He
pat.
wasn't wrong. He wasn't wrong.
No, come on. I mean, it's somebody like him anyway.
Well, you have to remember, Angel, he grew up so poor and, impoverished that even when they got food at night, if you remember that story
Exactly.
with Grandma Fanny cooking the 32-ounce, imagine 32-ounce steak, you got 11 kids starving around the kitchen, and she's cooking this big, huge steak that she had gotten from Bohack or wherever it was that she was working at the time, and made it for Grandpa. And
Well,
the kids
he's the
were
one.
salivating.
He brought the steak home and told her to cook
Well,
it.
they were salivating. And
Yeah. Oh, I get so upset when I hear those
he
stories.
never forgot those things.
I
So
know.
that for him, food, Daddy, he
Yeah.
didn't care what we ordered in restaurants. Mommy would stop us and go, "Hey, what did you just order? 3 plates, 3 different plates." And Daddy would say, "Leave them alone.
Leave them
Leave them
alone.
alone."
He was so
As
good.
long as
We
they-
were only
Yep.
only the best. Only the best.
Yep. And he would say, "As long as they're going to eat it,
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with that." And then he'd look at us and say, "But if you're going to waste it, then
Yeah.
we got a problem."
I wish. What are you gonna do?
Mm.
He liked. We loved Out to Donna's, but he also liked. His favorite was One If by Land, Two If by Sea.
I told you, he took me there
Yeah.
for my 18th birthday, and
Yeah.
we went to Maxime's after. Regine's. And Taylor Dane was singing. And it was
He
amazing.
liked Taylor Dane.
Yes, he
He
loved
liked
that
her.
song. And
Yeah.
he loved that song.
Yeah. He
I
liked
always
her.
love you. And like I said, it was the first time he ever got up. He had a few drinks in him, a few martinis. The driver was outside, and he said to me, I had to get all dressed up because it was my 18th birthday.
Yeah.
And he said, remember that night? It was the night I
Yeah.
asked him. He said, what do you want for your birthday? And I said, Dad, I'd like to be able to go out with Carmine, you know, and this, that. That was it. It ruined the whole dinner. And then he slammed his silverware down. He just looked at me. And I went, why did I say that now? I was supposed to say it on the way home. And he just looked at me and he said, let me ask you a question, Dad. Really? You're a college grad. You're so intelligent. What are you doing with someone that has a 7th grade education? He's a Neanderthal. He's a this. He's a thug. He's a this on the side of the tracks and blah, 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 blah. Don't you know I want the best for you? And I was sitting there going, I'll never forget that answer. The worst answer I could have ever given our father.
He reminds me of you.
Yes. And Daddy, the silverware fell
Oh
down.
my God.
Okay, right out of his hands. He leaned forward. Remember, he put, whenever we knew he was
my
really, he
God.
put his fist in his mouth and he said, don't ever, ever, ever say that to me again. Ever. He said, that was the worst insult I've ever been.
But
And
then
all the way home, Angel, he said the same thing to me. And then when we get home, he calls me down to his den where the bar was, and he said to me, I'm just curious. He was in his pajamas and he went, I gotta be curious. I'm just curious. Why on God's green earth would you ever say such a thing? What part of that guy reminds you of me? And I just remembered sitting there, so I didn't know what to say. And I went, well, now I learned my lesson. And I went, well, he's very good looking like you. I didn't know what to say. And Daddy went, that's it? And I went, yeah, really. And just, I was going to say his ways a little, you know, but then I said, let me shut up while you're ahead. And Daddy he calmed down then and he went, well, I got to tell you then, you need glasses. You need glasses.
But then Carmine became like a son to him.
Oh, yeah.
No, he loved him. He did.
Yeah.
He
then he
loved
would call him Big Carmine. And,
Yeah.
you know, who got to understand him
Yeah,
more.
exactly.
None of us knew that he was bipolar. That's the thing.
Yeah. I remember him calling
He did
me up.
crazy things.
I
Just did
remember
crazy
him
things.
calling me and first time I ever really heard a man cry. And he cried to me. He's like, Bogey, I can't sleep. I've been up for 4 days. I can't sleep. And he couldn't get an appointment with his doctor. Remember that, Vic?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It was crazy. You know, it was just.
Yeah, it was very sad. I felt very bad for him. Very sorry for him.
Well, I did up until the point where.
And then he got diagnosed, and then we used to, then we would fight with him. Remember?
No, he drove the car through. He knew I was having dinner with 2 gay guys. They were 2 of our best friends. In fact, one of them
did
was
you
a
ever
chef.
tell anybody this story?
No.
Oh,
And
tell it
one of them
now.
was a chef, and his name was Michael. Let's leave it at that. And he was living with a much older gentleman, CZ Guest. You know, Winston Churchill Guest's widow, on the estate across from mine. And Daddy was encouraging that friendship between myself, CZ, and Joan Rivers.
Yeah.
They had this massive crush on Daddy, the 2 women.
Yes.
2 older women. And I used to go there, oh, biddies, what the heck? But they would always write Daddy and invite me to lunch. And they didn't want to be presumptuous. And then she used to hand deliver, you know, with her green Jaguar. I used to say Jaguar, and she would go, no, it's a Jaguar. Anyway, this one night we were having dinner with the guy that lived in her house. He was her walker, what they called her walker, to the events, charity event, all that, gay guy. Yeah. And Michael was his live-in boyfriend, love, for like 7 years. And Michael and I became very good friends. And my other friend, Lynn, who was older than me, may she rest in peace, by like 12 years, she became friendly with the older one. That night, the 4 of us were going to dinner. So I said to my ex, you're invited. Why don't you come? We're going right here to Maddie's, you know, on Muslim. He said, no. I'm going to go. I'm going to take a ride to the track. I said, okay. He was going through this I think my third book was out. He assumed every guy that looked at me, there was an affair going on. He was going to investigate it. He had me followed. I didn't even know it for 2 months. And I'm helping the female private eye when she's around the corner waiting for me to come so she could follow me into the city to work. And I stop, pull over. She made believe she had a flat while she was waiting for me. And I pull over and I get out and I go, ma'am, can I help you? And can I help you? And she's like, oh, no, I thought I had a flat, but no, I don't. And she had her blinkers on. And I said, well, do you need my phone? And no, I'm good now. She was so nervous. I never knew it. He told me that years later it was her. And I never knew any of this stuff, but he never got any results. He bugged my house or my phones. He was insane. But this one night, Angel, he was invited. He didn't want to go. And last minute, suddenly, I don't know what happened. I think she had an argument with her son. Lynn couldn't come. She didn't show up at the restaurant. Yeah. So it was just the three of us. So we were sitting. I'll never forget my ex's words over and over and over. I never knew what it meant. But we were sitting like, say, Bob was sitting here. Okay, I was to Bob's right. And then to my right was Michael. And then the other chair was empty. Okay. So all of a sudden, we're all sitting there. Everybody's having their drinks. And I'm, just having my food and eating my food. We hear a big crash. Angel, the Lincoln Navigator comes flying through the window. All the patrons got up. We see everybody running. We thought a bomb went off. They're running every which way. The workers are running into the kitchen, locking the doors. Now I'm the only one standing there with my table, and they're all looking at me, and they're almost crying, these two guys. What do we do? We see Carmine get out of the truck, Angel. And I went, oh, my God. And he comes running over, and I'm like, is there something wrong with you? And I'm screaming, and he's going, what do you think? You're cute, all of you? Sitting boy, girl, boy, girl, boy. And I went, what? And we're looking at the table, Angel, and he's screaming. And I remember that poor guy, Michael. Oh, we were such close friends, too. And he went into he locked himself in the bathroom while Bob got the guy to let him in the kitchen. They locked the door. Oh, my God. Carmine kicked in the back bathroom door, and Michael was just standing there. I felt so bad. There was some customers still, and then all the workers heard it, and my ex is yelling at Michael. That's my wife. And Michael just stopped crying and all, Angel. He looked my ex in the eye and he went, Carmine, I come to your house at 1 a.m. when you want me to make the shrimp with bacon and you want me to do this and do that for you and cook the desserts and all that. I love you guys. And he goes, and Carmine, your wife is so beautiful, but I've never been with a woman in my life.
Yeah, I know, that poor man.
I felt so bad for him. Everybody was looking at him. I died. I called John from outside. I left him there with Maddie to figure out the mess and everything else because I didn't do it. I walked out. I called John. John's vacationing in Boca with Mommy and his wife and his kids. And he said, I think Mary Jo and Joey had the kids. But anyway, he was there with Mommy and his wife. And John just said, he did what? And he goes, let me go. John hung up. He must have called Maddie. John calls me back like an animal. And he tells me, listen to me, go home. Get your kids in bed. Lock that door. He said, he's not coming home tonight. He just got his marching orders from me. He was told to stay away from that house. I was supposed to be home Monday. This was a Saturday night, Angel. He said I was supposed to be home Monday. I moved the flight up till tomorrow. I'll be home tomorrow. Mommy and Kim are going to fly on Monday. I'll take care of this tomorrow. Your ex, meaning your husband, then he said, is to stay in the Garden City Hotel and not move. Not move. And he said, like I told your husband, he don't get help this week. He don't sign himself into a hospital and get the right medicines and care and this and that. He can't come home. I hung up, John and I was crying. I hung up, locked all the doors, got the kids in bed. They were like, Mom, where's Daddy? And I'm like, he had to go somewhere on a business trip. John came home. I didn't let the father come home for 2 days. He went to South Oaks. They diagnosed him. He was on his meds, and then he was great for as long as he took the meds, and then he stopped. And then he wasn't great anymore. But I always used to count the pills. But one story I have to tell, Angel, before I go. Gotta tell this story. My sister was dating this guy, Angel. You were dating Bobby.
Oh my
And my sister's
God.
dating this guy, and this guy is small. He was tall and all, but he was like thin and lanky.
Well, he wasn't as heavy as Carmine.
No, Angel, but he wasn't even. He wasn't like this, big muscle guy.
No, he wasn't.
Average, lanky, guy. And he treated her so well. He used to buy her fur coats and diamond rings. And, he wanted to get married and all that. We liked Bobby. Bobby was funny.
Yeah,
And
Bobby
so
was crazy.
Well, we didn't know that then. And at the same time, he was in the same business as my ex. So they had a lot to talk about and always got along. And one night, Bobby, my ex, could have talked anybody into seeing red rats. That was his expression.
God.
He could tell you the sky was black. And after about 10 minutes of debating, you believe him that the sky was black because of the way he would, convince you and tell you and all these conspiracy theories, right? My sister and I go in another room. Them two are sitting wherever. And then we took a ride, you and I, Angel, pick up, I think, ice cream or whatever it was. We come back in. Bobby is laid out. He's laid out on the floor. He's drooling. He's talking like Angel's going, what the hell is wrong with you? And he's going, and he's going, I think I got the illness that Carmine has got. And this
Carmine, listen to this, everyone.
Angel,
Carmine had him convinced that he was bipolar manic depressive
Angel,
too.
Carmine had 6 out of 10 people convinced that would talk to him that they were bipolar and they should go in and get checked. Okay? So by the time we were leaving, we heard him discussing it with Bobby, and he's telling Bobby, do you ever feel like or it's surreal or you this, or do you hear voices sometimes? And Bobby's going, yeah, Carmine, yeah. And Carmine says to him, do you ever feel like you really want to lose your temper and you could almost kill somebody, rip their eyes out? And Bobby's going, yeah. Well,
I'm telling you, Bobby. I'm telling you, you got what I got. I'm telling you. Hey, Maria Gentili. I'm telling you, Bobby, you got what I got.
He gave him the name of the doctor. He's like, Dr. Surratt, he's right here. Let me try and call him right now. That's when you and I left.
Yeah.
He was calling the doctor at like 10 at night. Whatever. We left. We come back. Bobby's laid out on the floor. We had to get him up, Angel. Walk him around, and you turned around. And we didn't know if we should laugh or it was really serious.
Because he gave him one of his pills.
Wait, Angel. So now
And
I
Bobby
turn to
was
my
so,
ex and I'm
he was
screaming at him.
half the size of Carmine.
Yes, less. And a third. And I was screaming at my ex and I'm going to him, what did you give him? And he goes, he felt like a little kid that got in trouble. And he went, I gave him one of the Millerill pills. I go, you gave him a whole pill? And he thought that was funny, my ex. And he went, yeah. I go, come on. The doctor prescribed a whole pill for you. I said, and you went down to a half because you were drooling.
It's not funny. I mean, it wasn't funny then. It's funny now, but really.
Wait, Angel, he also then, towards that time when he was telling Bobby, was taking a quarter in the morning because it would make him very tired and very this. And then at night, he would take the half. He gave Bobby a whole pill. And at Bobby's height and weight, I couldn't believe it. And I was screaming at him. I said, do you know how dangerous that is? What if he would have died? And Bobby now was laughing. We had him up. He was doing crazy things. You had to drive him. Oh, my Angel, it was hysterical.
Oh, my God. The crazy things oh, my God. You people have no idea. The crazy stuff.
My ex-husband, Angel, felt so bad about that for like 4 days. 4 days. I got anything I wanted for 4 days. It was everything like, yes, dear, no, dear, yes, dear.
Do you remember you and, well, I'm sure it was from him, but you both bought me a full-length mink coat. Do you remember that?
Yes.
A full-length mink coat.
Don't say you sure it was from him. I picked it out.
No, I know. I'm
teasing.
I'm teasing you. Yeah,
But
full
no,
length
he
mink
was. He
coat.
was very generous.
Very, very generous. Very
I
good.
brought
too.
in, Angel, I brought in a necklace last week. I couldn't even believe it. The guy said, I wanted to have it cleaned. And I took it out of my, safe deposit box. It was one of many. And one thing I will say, he was always so generous with gifts. So it was one of many, and it had a big stone in it, and it was this emerald cut that I loved. And I just wanted it clean because it was an antique piece. I couldn't believe when the guy appraised it and tells me, oh, this one, it's 98,000, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, wait, what? And he goes, yeah. He said, what year did he buy it in? And I told him, I said, maybe 20 something years ago. That's it, like 22. He goes, well, he must have paid at least 50 at that time. And I went, for my birthday? And he goes, I don't know. I'm just telling you what it's worth now.
He was very generous.
He was. With me, he was very, very, very generous. And he threw parties like you never saw. Yeah, he was really. But that was part of the illness too, Angel. He had no
the highs and
concept.
the lows.
Right.
The highs and
I'll
lows.
never forget the time that not one, he went out to trade our cars in. And his attitude was every year you trade the cars in because, it cost you a couple of thousand more, but you're getting the new model and you always finance them. So he got, every year he bought one for him, one for me. And it was usually, we both liked black. This one year he came home with, and I was only mad because it was the color. He's bought a black one and a white one home, a Mercedes. And I said to him, why do I get the white one? Like, I don't want it. I don't like the white. And it's too prissy for me. I like the black. I've had black my whole life and this and that. Anyway, all of a sudden, Angel, I see like 4 more guys pulling into the driveway. Each one of them are driving Mercedes-Benz, brand new, sticker price on them. One of the colors, there was the black, the white, there was a beige, there was a deep, deep wine color, okay? And then the last one was two-tone. It was like brown and champagne, like color. And I remember saying to him, what the hell are you doing? Our kids, the oldest one, Angel, was like 12, 13. And I went, what the hell did you do? All these Mercedes-Benz guys are getting out. And all of a sudden, it's like Angel, like he was on such a high that day. And he looked at me and he went, wait, here comes the last one. She's gorgeous, Vic. She's gorgeous. She's so sharp. And the guy pulls into the driveway, Angel. It's the purple burgundy one. He sees it and you see his whole face. I never saw this in my life. His whole face went like gray, ashen. And he went, wait, that's not my car. And the guy, he's arguing with the guy that drove. He goes, come on, you just made me pull it off the lot. You just came in and he's showing him the paper and all that. And he's a supervisor. This guy just made a sale of 4 or 5 Mercedes. And I'm looking at him arguing with him going, forget the color. The hell are you doing with these cars? What are you going to drive one every week, every day, every different color? He came to and he realized it. And then he's going to the guy, that color's ugly. It's the ugliest thing I ever saw in the showroom. It looked like it was this deep, 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 deep purple, almost black, but a sheen to it. He goes, I don't want this car. And he tells me, matter of fact, take the other 3 out of here. And I'm sitting there going, oh, dear God. They took them all back, thank God. And we just kept the 2. And I was like, what is wrong with you? And he was like, I don't know. I don't know what came over me when I was in there. I couldn't make up my colors. Yep. He was like a kid.
He used
and
to.
You couldn't even.
Yeah, we used to call each other Bogey. And he comes home.
It was because
I was always by you. I was always by my sister's house. Yeah, but it was because
you started calling him Bogey back in Mom's house. And then he would call me
Bogey back. Yeah.
No, wait.
What?
Because we were in Mom's house and you gave the nickname. That was the signal.
Yes, because we couldn't say Carmine in the house.
Right.
Because she wasn't allowed to go out with him. So I nicknamed him Bogey.
And you would call me and say, Bogey's on the phone. And you called us Bogey and Bacall. And every time, then it stuck. Everybody started calling Bogey.
Wait a second. What about one night? Daddy turns around and says, yeah, what about Bogey? Oh, my God. All the blood came out of my head.
Yeah. Yeah.
You think I'm stupid? You think I don't know who Bogey is? I'm like,
Yep.
oh, I just stood there. I ran out of the room.
Yeah, Daddy was always one step ahead.
Oh my God, was he ever? So now he gets this horse. Do you remember? And he says, oh, what am I going to name this horse? I said, oh, name him Bogey. So he
Yeah,
did? He named him
he
Bogey's
did.
Choice. Remember?
Yes, he
I
got.
said
Wait, he
Bogey's
got.
Choice.
No. He won. He bought one that day, and then he won one in a claims race. Okay, because he was a horse
Yeah.
owner and better, and he named one Bogey's Choice and the other one Say Hello, Vic.
Oh, that's right.
He
You know
didn't name it. That was named Say Hello, Vic, and he felt it was an omen. He wanted to buy it, but he also had told you that he was getting the other horse and he was going to name it
Bogey's Choice. Yeah.
Bogey's Choice. So he
Yeah.
said, I bought them both, and I'm looking at him when he got home, and I'm like,
Wait,
where are you going to
Vic,
put him?
you know what else I'll never forget? Remember when you got your trucks then and they would, pinstripe your names on the doors, and remember
Yes.
he put my
Yes.
name on one?
He put mine in the front of all the trucks,
Yes.
Vicky, big letters. Then he put on one side of the door Angel, and on the other side of the door Mom. Like for his mom.
He
And that
put
was
my
it.
name. He put my name on one of those trucks. I was
Yep.
so touched by that. He had it pinstriped on Angel.
Yep. Yep.
What a shame.
I remember that.
wish we could go back to those days. You remember the first time my sister says, come on, we're gonna go, Angel, because I had the mommy's car, and she said, come on, let's go past the junkyard. This is when she wasn't allowed to go out with him. Now listen to this, everyone. So she's not allowed to go out with him, but we're going to take a ride down past the junkyard. This is the first time I'm meeting him, okay? And
Mhm. But you knew of him.
I knew
before
of
I
him,
even
yeah.
knew, before I even met him.
So here we are. We're going to pull up, and all of a sudden they're all handcuffed to the fence.
Yes. Yes. That became like a monthly thing. That became
Him
like
and
a
all his
monthly thing.
workers, they're all handcuffed to the fence.
Auto
What
crime.
the
Auto
hell
crime.
is this? And they
Yeah.
go, get out of here, get out of here. Because we're going, hi, Carmine. Hi, Georgie. Out the window,
Yep.
Roseanne, you and me and
Yep.
Diane. Hi, Paulie. And they're going, get out of here.
Because
Get out of
the
here.
other
We didn't
girls,
realize. We didn't
right, the
realize
other
that they
girls
were
were seeing-
handcuffed to the fence. We're like, oh,
wait,
they were all at
we're
the
wondering
fence.
why they're standing. They're all standing against the fence. Meanwhile, when Carmen was going like this with his other hand, like, keep going, keep
Get
going.
out of here, get out of here. Now you know why my father didn't want my sister going out with him.
Yeah, he was always in trouble. And
Oh
it
my
was
God,
stupid trouble. Stupid trouble. He
Yeah.
couldn't keep his mouth shut. Like
They were
auto
all
crime would go into, yes, auto crime would go, you know what that day was? Auto crime would go into the yards and just do checks and all that. He'd throw them out. He'd tell them, F your mother, but he just didn't take,
Listen,
he
how
didn't
about
take like authority well and positioning. But anyway, that one day, a customer came back in after buying a motor. We don't know nothing. We're in our neighborhood just hanging out for the day, and I said to everybody, let's go past, because two of the other girls in the car with us, besides Angel,
yeah, the
were
three of
seeing-
them. I was the only one
right,
who
were
wasn't
seeing-
dating somebody.
they were
from
seeing
there.
his workers.
Yeah.
They were dating his workers. Roe with Georgie and Diane with Paul.
Holy,
Anyway,
yeah.
we go to the yard, and we saw that day. Unfortunately, a customer came. It made the papers too. Oh my God, Daddy was going to kill him, because now Daddy had said I was allowed to go out with him. At that point, I think I was allowed for a month, and the customer came back in screaming and yelling at one of the other workers and saying, and this, I put the motor in, and this and that and that. So the worker was telling him, this isn't how we sold it to you. Because one thing Carmine did do was he sold great parts. Yeah. And always shine them up. Remember, he built the
Vic,
first.
hold that thought. Everybody, please hit that like button. Please, please. Thank you. Go ahead.
He had the first Angel, almost like that dry cleaners racks that go around, but with car parts. Anyway,
Yeah.
the motors were on a different track, and he got this guy a brand new one. It was all shined up. He did it himself. So when the guy brought it back, it looked machine god. Like the guy tried to put it in himself, not have a professional. And my ex was screaming, and he said, "This is not how it was sold to you. This is not how it was sold." And I paid. I think he said something like he paid $2,000 for the motor, and the guy wanted. He said, "I gave you a discount and everything," and the guy was screaming. You know, at my ex, he didn't realize he was a little older than him, and he was screaming at him like, "You give me my effing money back right now. I'm calling the police." All of a sudden, my ex takes this, he rips the phone out of the wall. He swings it, gives the guy an uppercut with the phone, right over his head, right over his chin.
God.
The cops were there, and the next thing you know, they're all chained to the fence. Charges were dropped. There was no nothing, but still, we pull up like, "Hi, everybody," and they're all going, "Get out of here. Get out of here."
Yeah, because don't forget, I'm driving up and I'm beeping the horn like a maniac. Like, "Hi, hello."
Yep.
Roseanne's hanging out the window. "Georgie."
Angela, I just remember that hand of his going out the window and going, "Go, go, go, go."
They were all doing it. "Get out of here. Get out of here."
Yep.
That's all he needed was the Gotti girls there while the cops are there.
Oh my God. It was so funny. There was so many funny. I'll tell you one last thing, Angel. Then we have to. I gotta get ready for bed. But listen to this. Remember the time poor cousin John, may he rest in peace.
Johnny
I was, Richard. I was fighting. Uncle Angela's son. I was fighting with my ex, and I wasn't supposed to be seeing him then. But cousin John always kept a secret. He didn't even tell our brother, because our brother would have, really came at me. He didn't say nothing. He didn't do nothing. And all of a sudden, I said to cousin John, I was upset. I was furious with something that he did. And cousin John, he knew, my ex knew I didn't drive. I didn't have a license. I really didn't drive. I knew how to, but I didn't have a license yet. And it was well past, like, I was 18. I should have had my license by now. Okay. I asked cousin John, he's at the park. I said, "Cousin John, could I borrow your car just to take a ride to City Land?" And he goes, "Yeah, you want to go see that guy over there, huh?" Because remember, the two sides didn't get along. Howard Beach, was on top. And I went, "John, cousin John, I got to fight with him." And I just want to catch him in this thing. Cousin John goes, "All right, cousin Vic, just make sure you come back, within the hour." I said, 20 minutes, 20 minutes. I'll never forget it, Angel. I had Diane Eptangelo in the car, poor Diane. And we drive, and I see Carmine across the way. So I get crazy. And I'm going now, Angel, I was at a stop sign, and I saw the stop sign. All right. And I'm sitting there going, "Son of a bitch, I'm going to kill him. I'm going to kill him." There he is, hanging out by that candy corner again. Pizzeria, this, that. Angel, I floored the car. I didn't see the other car come. Next thing I know, I went to avoid the other car, which I did avoid it. I hit the gas instead of the brake. I went right through the Chinese food place, remember? Angel, right through the window.
You get
I gotta say one thing to him. Wait, I gotta say one thing to him. He just came running over before the cops even got there. The Chinese guy was screaming. Everybody was, da, 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 da. He came running over and he said, "Move over, move over, move over." And he got into the driver's side and he took the whole rap. Yeah. And he said, "Get it through insurance," and this and that. And then I went, when he was driving us home, I went, the car was a wreck, Angel. So it was destroyed. It was totaled, cousin John's. And when cousin John saw
Uncle Angelo's son, Johnny boy. Oh,
yes,
my God,
he saw us pull up.
So much. I miss
Angel, he was fun. And when cousin John saw us pull up in Carmine's car, he knew. And he just looked at me. He came over. He goes, "Hey, Carmine, what's up?" And all of a sudden, Carmine goes, "Yeah, your cousin. Listen, I got to talk to you." So I begged him. I go, "Can you please tell my cousin, please? I can't tell him this, that." He goes, "Listen, I'll tell him, but I ain't telling him it was me." He goes, "That's not happening." So I said, "I'm going to get killed. I'm going to get killed." Anyway, he told cousin John, and he said it was an accident. He told him something like his brake got stuck or something. But anyway, cousin John took that so calmly, and he went, I'll never forget it. He went, "All right, cousin Vic, what are you going to do? Relax." I was crying. And he goes, "Relax. Don't worry about it." He goes, "These things happen." He goes, all right, so insurance, that's what insurance is for. I went home that night. I was praying. I was so happy that nobody got hurt and that nobody, it wasn't a big thing, but that was my first real lesson in, you look, listen, learn, and you don't have a license for a reason. You wait till you get it.
No, here's the best part of this, okay? Now, she's not allowed to go out with Carmine, right? And I really, really liked him, So anyway, they're not allowed to date. And I'm driving down City Line where Carmine is, and I go to make a left turn, right? I mean, what was I, like 19, I think? 18? I would think it was 18,
I don't know,
something like that. I go to make a left. Yeah, I go to make a left. But now, who's coming speeding down the avenue? I thought he was far away. So listen to this. What's the chances of this? Head-on collision with Carmine's brother, Mikey.
Yep, Mikey.
So what happens now? He gets out of his car. I get out of my car. Now I'm crying because I'm like, oh my God. I just crashed my mother's car. And so now I see him. I don't know him. I never met Mikey yet. So all of a sudden I'm looking at his car and I see he's got the pinstripe on his door, Mikey. I'm like, oh my God.
No,
I said, Are you Mikey?
Angel, he had MA, but
Mikey, I recognized the car because Carmine drove it. And I said to him, are you Mikey? And he says, well, who are you? I said, oh my God, I'm Vicky's sister, Angel. And he looks at me and he goes, oh my God. He's just putting his hands on his head. Now he realizes he just got into a car accident with your sister.
He wanted to die.
He wanted to die, and Mikey was the nicest guy on the planet.
He was like a brother to me.
So he was. So he says, so now he's like, you don't want to call the cops, do you? I said, I don't think so. So he says, I said, but could we go down to the club? Because he was on one end of 101st Avenue and the club was on the other end of 101st Avenue. So we drove down to the club. And so now I go walking into the club first. Daddy's in there. Everybody's in there. All uncles, everybody's in there. I open up the door and I'm just crying. And they're looking at me like, what happened? What happened? And all I do is point to them. They're coming in after me. And I'm just pointing. I couldn't even talk. I was crying so hard. And Daddy, and they were all looking like, what the hell? What the fuck went on? What's the matter? And then Mikey says, no. We got into a car accident. She got, she was making a left. I was coming and we got into a car accident. And Daddy was like, that's it? That's what you're crying like this about? I'm saying to myself, wait till you find out who he is. Wait till you find out who this is.
Daddy loved Mikey. Mikey was a class act. Mikey was so quiet, but big. Nobody messed around with Mikey because you could push him till you pushed his wrong button and then he went apeshit. And everybody better run. But Mikey, I will say this, he died shortly after my divorce, but the day that I announced I was divorcing Carmine, I'll never forget it, Angel. Carmine was so sick, he was sending every member of the family, including you guys, to my house to talk to me and try and change my mind. So who comes on his own is Mikey. And Mikey came to my house. I'll never forget it, Angel. He was in the hallway. And he just starts crying with me. And he's just sitting there and I'm going, Mike, what are you crying for? And he's going, I don't understand it. My brother, he has everything any man could want. A beautiful wife, a beautiful home, 3 beautiful babies. Because remember, Mikey and Annette were having trouble having kids. And we adopted with, that we helped them. And he's screaming and he's going, the fuck, and this illness and this craziness. My brother's lost his mind. He's lost his mind. And I'm going,
Yeah,
Mikey, calm down. It was like I was calming Mikey down instead of Mikey coming to calm me down.
He's so good, Mikey. Oh, God.
He was so
May
good.
they all
He was
rest
so
in
good.
peace.
Yeah.
All of them. Stumpy, Mikey,
Yeah.
Jumbo, Cousin Johnny Boy, all of them.
Well,
They all
Mikey,
rest in peace.
Mikey, I take that a little more because I got the phone call from his doctor, and his doctor was Dr. Robinson over at St. Francis, and he said, Victoria, you don't really know me, but we have a lot of doctor friends in common. And I said, yes. And I did all my charity work for St. Francis. And then he said, your brother-in-law was here to see me. He said, he told me that, your doctors were here and that's why he came here. And he said, listen, he needs a very, very important surgery. It's not life-threatening at the moment, but it can turn. He said he has a valve problem and it's severely leaking and he needs to get it done and blah, 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 within this year or else this, that. Mikey had a little bit of a problem and he went away. He was going away for a few years. And the doctor said to me on the phone, I understand he has a little bit of a legal issue, but I told him I can get him out to stay out another year. And this way we'd do the surgery, he'd recoup nicely. And before he went in, he'd be down to, great, perfectly, lose the weight, do this, do that. He'd be excellent. 1 year, he goes, I can get him to stay. And I said, I'll talk to him. Oh, believe me, Dr. Robinson, I will. I begged him, Angel. I begged him. I cried to him. He wouldn't do it. He was afraid of a needle.
He didn't like going to
remember,
the doctor.
He went to do his time, Angel. He went to do his time. He spent a few years. He came home. He died a month after he was home.
Oh.
I was sick to hear that story. When I got that call that morning,
I know.
he came out of the diner with Stumpy, his best friend. They called him Stumpy. And he came out of the diner and over the railing, he just started vomiting uncontrollably. And Stumpy said he just fell right over. And they called the EMS. By the time they got there, he was gone. And isn't that ironic? A month, not even, Angel, 3.5 weeks later, Stumpy died.
I thought it was a little longer.
No, less than a month later, Stumpy died.
No, Jesse Roth, there was no Grey Poupon in the glove box of the Rolls Royce.
What are you talking about?
Somebody asked, I'm so far behind in the chat, but Jesse asked if there was Grey Poupon in the glove box of the
That
Rolls
was a
Royce.
joke back then. We used to always
tease. Remember
tease.
That? Yeah.
Yes. Excuse me. Do you have any Grey Poupon? That was a beautiful car. I don't know where it ended up today. He doesn't even know, Angel, and we're upset over that, but whatever, it is what it is. People take things and they take advantage when you're divorcing. They take advantage when you're going away for a bit, and all of a sudden you come back, everything's gone, and they pilfer.
Do you want to tell anybody just a little bit of what you and I spoke about last night and just leave names out?
I don't remember what that was.
Of you and I possibly doing something together, or you want to wait?
I think we should wait, but
Okay.
I can tell them, we were just asked to do a podcast from a major company, and,
Yes. So we're not going to announce it yet. We're just going to throw a little crumb out to everybody.
Yeah, we were. Okay. Well, I was asked to do from a major company, one of the biggest, in fact, if not the biggest. And the agent said they're very, very, very excited. She said, you can basically name your own ticket. Who would you go on with? I said, the only person really that I could think of, besides like Robert, but Robert and I don't, he thinks that term agreeing to disagree is great for people, but he takes it too far and we start really fighting on, and it's okay to, agree to disagree. That's okay. Nobody has to have the same thoughts and nobody wants that. They want the combative conversation going back and forth, and they want different opinions. But anyway, so I told them no, and I said that my sister does one now, and, we would have she says, that's a great idea, because you go way back, you'd have and then talking about past, present, and future. And I said, yeah. So that was it.
Okay, so that's all we can tell you for now, everyone.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to
Well, I'm
see.
going to go to bed. I'm going to go to bed because
Okay,
it's
dokes,
like
Vic,
way
thank
past
you
my
for
bedtime.
staying on this long. You're on an hour and 44 minutes. Thank you very, very much.
Oh, no, my pleasure. I enjoy this and I enjoy all the listening.
Yeah, I love
you
go
know.
because everybody doesn't know. This is what we do when we're on the phone.
Yeah,
What we did
yeah.
tonight is what we do when we speak on the phone. We're always talking
Mhm.
about things from the past and
Well,
present
you have
things.
to. You have to laugh. You have to
Yeah,
laugh.
exactly. And now we have another new niece. We have
Oh,
another
yes.
great niece, I should say.
Named Cicely.
Cicely is my niece, our niece's our new
Yes, and
niece's name.
spelt like the Sicily, Italy.
Yes, yes. I think that's
Which
adorable.
it is. It's very different.
It's very
I know a
different.
lot of people passed, comments to me, not in a bad way, just like, well, why would that, that's kind of odd. And I said, no, first of all, today, the girls, the young society today, and the youngsters, they're different. They think differently. And why keep repeating the past anyway? Make things different, shake it up. So, as Daddy used to say, shake it up. And I think it's adorable, Cicely.
Yeah, me too. And she's beautiful.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Gorgeous.
All right, Victoria. Thank you very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And
My pleasure.
love you.
Love you too, and good night, all.
Good night. My sister's saying good night. Good night, everybody. All right. I'll talk to you later, Vic.
Till next time.
All right. Bye. So, everyone, did you hit that like button? I'm so sorry. I'm so far behind.